Before creation, possibility. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the Word of God, so that the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. Hebrews 11:3. What are these things that do not appear, which are the foundation of things that do appear? First and foremost to be understood is the recognition that more than one dimension exists. There is a physical dimension and a spiritual dimension. One visible, the other invisible. One temporal, the other eternal. The second concept is an extension of the first. The two dimensions of things that be, although separate, run parallel and also are interwoven. Similar to a reflection in a mirror, the physical realm is a reflection, but not of things that are visible. The creation of God mirrors spiritual things which are invisible. God said, "Let there be light," and creation began to appear. In a pitch black room with a mirror, if you flip on the light, objects in the room appear in the mirror. However, the reflection of objects is not the true objects, but a reflection of them. The real objects existed in the room when it was yet dark. Turn out the light, and the reflection of objects in the mirror ceases to exist, while the true objects still remain in the blackness. Alternatively, a blinding light shining into the mirror destroys the reflection of the objects, but not the true objects. So shall it be at the coming of the Lord, when the things we see are destroyed, but the invisible things of God will remain. For the invisible foundation of all things before the creation shall withstand the brightness of the coming of the Lord, wherein all temporal things shall be burned up and perish. For it is upon eternal invisible laws, principles, and truth that all temporal things in the physical realm exist and have any being in the first place. Indeed, for the things we can see which we believe to be real, in a sense are a reflection of things we cannot see which are the true. For the things we cannot see are indestructible. Possibilities. In the physical realm, before anything can be, it must first exist as a possibility. A possibility before it is realized is an invisible with the potential to be a reality. Many possibilities exist that we are not aware of, for who but God holds all knowledge? There exists therefore a whole realm of possibilities, spiritual entities with the potential of coming into being, some of which are known and many more are unknown. Knowledge. Knowledge likewise is an invisible. If it is realized, it must be an accurate comprehension of that which is true, otherwise it is not truly knowledge. We only comprehend knowledge in part. Today we have airplanes, skyscrapers, electronics, and so on. In principle, these things were possible before they were invented, but it took generations of discovering, comprehending, and accumulating the knowledge to realize these possibilities that now have come into being. It is impossible to know how many more things can exist that have not yet come into the human mind. We now understand and take for granted many things that at one time were not imagined, although they existed as unknown possibilities outside of the mind, for their time had not yet come. So then, knowledge being made manifest lays the stepping stones from invisible possibility to ideas, from ideas to designs, from designs to realizations. Ideas and design. When knowledge is increased, new ideas are born, and from new ideas original designs, which when put into action produce new things. Before the house is the blueprint. Before the blueprint, conceptions of design. Before the design, the ideas. Before the ideas, knowledge. It is then that the house can begin to physically appear, first as a possibility in the mind, then on paper, then in reality. Nevertheless, ideas and design must be based upon axioms, realities which separate possibilities from fantasies or vain imaginations. Otherwise they are not viable. The creation. Thus far we have dealt with understanding the invisible foundations of things mankind invents and brings into being. Beginning with the invisible, a possibility which is comprehended, by this knowledge birth is given to concepts and design, which when put to work may become tangible realities in the physical realm. But what if, like unto reverse engineering, we start with the finished product and disassemble it to discover the origins? Beginning with observations of visible things, we can comprehend invisible things that support their existence. Indeed, for if we understand an idea can spur a creation, then it stands to reason that comprehending a creation can lead to a better understanding of the invisible things that spawn them. For all matter, and energy for that matter, and all living and non-living things, are reflections which mirror things we cannot see. Indeed, for created things were preceded by their possibility of being. All things that exist physically must have had a foundation of axioms, physical and spiritual laws, after which they are patterned in order to exist. To sum things up, by comprehension of invisible things, mankind has made many things which now are visible. Likewise, by comprehending the things that are visible, we can also understand some of the things that lie outside of the material dimension. Was this then a purpose and an intent of God in the creation of all things, that we might learn and understand the invisible things which lie beyond our physical realm? Indeed, as Paul says in Romans 1:20, the invisible things of God from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. This gives the word spoken in the beginning, "Let there be light," a more profound meaning, for light is knowledge, and God divided the light, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, from the darkness, ignorance. And God saw the light that it was good. For it was not on the first day, but later on the fourth day, that God created the physical luminaries, the sun, moon, stars, providing the light to divide and rule over the day and the night. Conclusion. Possibility had to exist before creation. Not mentioned heretofore is the essential component of possibility, which if absent, possibility itself could not exist. That component would be energy. There must be a source of energy for any possibility to be realized. Indeed, because for any physical creation to come into being, there must be action, and action requires energy. A force of energy has always existed. This force is the source and foundation of all things that be, or can be, or have been. It is what makes even possibilities possible. All of the eternal invisible things aforementioned are in God. God said, "I am." Everything physically existing is being spun into existence by the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of God. And everything in the physical realm consists of energy, including matter, which is a form of energy. From being possibilities, all things that we now see have come to be. One final element in the process, however, needs to be given more attention. That would be purpose. Purpose is an absolute necessity for highly complex designs to be viable. Even evolution would be dependent upon purpose to be successful. Otherwise, random mutations with no direction and no consistent shape or form would overwhelm viability and be the rule. Design requires intent, and intent requires purpose. A house or an automobile is not going to design and build itself. Even more daunting would be the creation of biological life in the universe. The seeing eye would not exist without design. Thus, the debate becomes one over the designer. Either self-designing mutations somehow find order out of need as they go along making mistakes and somehow eliminating them, or an omnipotent creator with knowledge, intent, and purpose designed and created all things. It is certainly the latter. God, in His willingness to make visible things which were before invisible, said, "Let there be light." Those are the first recorded words spoken by God. Light is knowledge, and God created all things to make knowledge manifest, and in so doing, all of creation is a witness which testifies of the invisible knowledge of God. Creation then is a teaching apparatus of God, and there is nothing that was created without an intended purpose to illustrate things that otherwise would not be known unto us.